Hi, tonight's devotional is called God Gets It Done. Do you know what an empire is? An empire is a bunch of countries and a bunch of people all ruled by just one king. A mega king. There were a lot of mega kings in the Bible. These mega kings had mega armies too. If an empire wanted your land, they would probably just take it. Some of these mega kings got so big they started to think of themselves as gods. They even made their people bow down and worship them as if they were gods. But they weren't gods. God was still God, the only God. And God used mega kings and their mega armies to do his will. That means to get what he wanted done. First, God let the Assyrian army take over the northern kingdom of Israel. Then he let the Babylonian army take over the southern kingdom of Judah. Why? Because God keeps his promises. He had promised the Israelites they would be safe as long as they followed him. He also promised that if they didn't follow, their enemies would carry them away. It was a sad time for the Israelites, but God still loved them. He wanted them to have hope. Through two of his prophets, Isaiah and Jeremiah, God told the Israelites, long before it happened, that they would have to live in Babylon for 70 years. Then a new king would appear who would let them go back home. God even told them the new king's name, Cyrus. And sure enough, 70 years after the Israelites were carried off to Babylon, a new empire arose in the world, the Persian Empire. It was the biggest empire anyone had ever seen, so big that it took over the Assyrians and Babylonian empires at the same time. This new empire had a new king. Can you guess his name? Yup, Cyrus. And just as Jeremiah and Isaiah had foretold, more than a century before Cyrus was even born, Cyrus told the Israelites they could go back home, back to Jerusalem and the Promised Land. So 50,000 Israelites packed up all their things and walked all the way back to Jerusalem. They rebuilt their houses, and they rebuilt God's temple. A priest named Ezra, who loved God very much, moved back to Jerusalem to teach the Israelites how to follow God again. Ezra read God's laws to them, and they promised to follow the one true God, no matter what. Another Israelite named Nehemiah was still in Babylon, working for the king. King Cyrus had died, and a new king was Artaxerxes, which is a very fun name to say. It has 2 X's. Don't you wish your name had 2 X's? A visitor from Jerusalem told Nehemiah that the temple was rebuilt, but the walls of Jerusalem were still broken down. Walls were important in the ancient world because walls protected people from their enemies. Until Jerusalem's walls were fixed, the city would never be safe. Nehemiah went to King Artaxerxes and asked if he could go back to Jerusalem to rebuild the walls. He even asked if the king would give him supplies he needed to do the job. And guess what? King Artaxerxes said yes. He gave Nehemiah what he needed to rebuild the walls and make Jerusalem safe again. God used King Cyrus, King Artaxerxes, and the giant Persian Empire to help his people, the Israelites. These powerful kings, who thought they were gods, ended up helping the people of the real God move back home and rebuild their city. Isn't it amazing how God can use anything or anyone, even kings who don't follow him, to get what he wants done? Everyday truth. God can use anything or anyone to get what he wants done. All right, here are the questions to talk about with your family. Why do you think God can use anything or anyone he wants to get what he wants done? Pause the video and talk about it. What is something God can use you to get done? Pause the video and talk about. Will you pray with me? Dear God, thank you for inviting us to be part of the good work you are doing. Show us how we can help to get what you want done. Amen. I'll see you tomorrow night for another bedtime story. Bye.